Hi guys, I am loving this information that I'm getting. I'm learning right along with you during this 30-day happiness experience. I would love to hear more feedback in the group, so please let us know how you're using these tips and techniques through your life. What are you learning? What are you experiencing? How much happiness are you actually living in your life? So today with me, I have Camila Fur Marquez. She is a life coach who believes in radiant messiness, allowing the joys and challenges of life and the space in between to dance together and fuel the creation of one's deepest desires. Hi, Camila.
Hi, Stacy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you, and I'm excited to have Camila because Camila loves to play and have fun. This is a part of her work, so I can't wait to see what she has to share with us. So tell me, what does happiness mean to you?
Hmm. So for me, happiness means really relishing in each of the moments, the people, and the different things that bring me what I like to call soul smiles. So just those moments when I'm walking and I can't stop smiling. I just notice this feeling deep within me bubbling up and leaving me just completely embracing the day, embracing my smiles. It's when I'm in my flow. It's when I'm just happy to see the sunshine and the way that the clouds are looking and the bark on the trees is patterned. And I just, every engagement that I have is just filled with this intensity and love. So yes, it's just when I just notice that joy arising spontaneously without even knowing that it's there until I'm realizing that my face is doused in a smile.
I love those moments when we just feel like fully in the flow and we are like so, everything just feels so expansive and so amazing. And you can just find happiness and joy in everything that you look at. I love that expanded feeling.
Oh, me too. It is incredible, and to have those moments too when it's just a constant and you're just flooded with all of that joy. It's great. And that plays a lot into the work that I do as well, and noticing those moments and what brings me those soul smiles and that recognition of what the patterns are there, that helps me know what I need to do to create more joy in my life on that constant basis.
So, Camila, I know, like I said before, that you love to do inner child work. I know that you love to do play work. I know you love to do work around fun. So, tell me what you brought with it today to us to create more fun in life and not take life so seriously like we all do.
Yes. All right. So, like Stacey mentioned, I I definitely do a lot of play work. I love tapping into my inner child. It's in any time that I am questioning what choice I should make, I always tap into my little self and ask what she would do and what advice she has. So by inner child, I just mean that force within you that has that deep wisdom of your childhood, that inner curiosity, and tapping into that knowledge. So there are a couple of ways that I like to do this. And one of them is to just get familiar with yourself, who you were when you were, say, 5, 8, whenever you can close your eyes and think back to when you felt your complete self. When did you feel free? When did you feel excited? When did you feel curious? And become really familiar with her. So I actually have a couple of pictures of me when I was little. Here's me. I've got my warrior sunscreen paint on and I'm swimming and just playing, and here I am. I'm probably looking at some sticks and exploring, and I'm kind of in my serious mode here. But just tap into that person. You can get pictures of yourself. You can look at what you were doing when you were little and having fun. Go ahead and journal those things out or list them in your mind, and think about those activities that you used to like to do. Did you used to like swimming? Did you used to like climbing trees? Did you used to like sitting and reading a book? Did you like crafting? think about those things, and you can try and bring some of those into your life as well. So that's one thing. Engage with the activities that you used to enjoy when you were little. The other one is to incorporate it into your daily practice. I like to, every day when I wake up, ask my inner self, all right, what little Camilo, today as I go about my day, what should I do to incorporate more fun? So today she told me to wear some funky jewelry. So I've got these crazy earrings on. I've got this magic fairy ring that my mom gave me. And then yesterday she told me, all right, you should put on some music and just dance for a little bit. So I did that. So ask yourself that every day. And it's a little way to just bring in the sparks of fun, or just keep this curiosity in mind. And you might have some really strange things that come up, but listen to what those are, and see what does happen if you do listen to what that voice says.
I love these tips, and I love what you're sharing. And the funniest thing is that so many times in this last 30 days, music and dancing have come up. It's just so, I think it's just such a great tool to get us in the mode of fun and breaking us out of that seriousness. I think that we really get too caught up in being perfect and trying to make decisions, and life gets really rigid. So really tapping back into that inner child, that inner curiosity that you said, that inner fun is just a beautiful way of looking at this. Life is supposed to be fun. Life is supposed to be adventurous. Life is supposed to be we're supposed to see things and experience and love and go new places. And when we let go of all that rigidness, we can experience more of that part of life. So I love that. And I think sharing these inner child tools kind of helps to create and cultivate that adventurous side of us once again.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I think what you were saying too, just about that adventurous spirit, that is such a magical element of being a child. And that is something that you can completely tap into. I mean, when you remove the borders of those boxes and you allow yourself to forget about the rigidity, and you take on that mindset of, you know what, I don't need to have a specific outcome. I can just explore whatever possibility you're looking at and just see what happens, and embrace that childlike mindset of, yeah, let's see where this goes. Let's have fun with this. Let's enjoy the process rather than necessarily worrying about that point Z. Then it takes on a life of its own. You're trusting in your intuition. You're trusting in the universe and the guidance that comes from just listening in and allowing all the goodness that comes from that exploration to emerge. And that's often way more exciting and wonderful than what you could even imagine.
Yeah, I love the word magic anyway, because I have seen magic work in my life. I have seen it. I've seen a adventure unfold in front of me. And as you're talking, it's just making me think. Emilia, my daughter, had her first Easter egg experience this year, her first Easter hunt, and it was so amazing and so magical. I think I was more excited than she was. But she loved it so much, and we have never put her basket away because every day she wants to go hunt Easter eggs. So my husband and I will go in the yard and we will hide the eggs, and she takes her basket and she goes and hunts. And it's she just loves it, and it's so magical that we just do it with her. It's just something fun that we do. It's who cares if it's a month later? She's going to be the best little Easter egg hunter next year. We always laugh. We're she's taking all the eggs because she's practiced all year long.
Exactly. See? She's gaining mastery.
Yeah, it's just that having fun in the moment, and it doesn't need to look a certain way. It doesn't have to be, let's put the basket away. No, we can't play with them. Why not? Why can't you hunt Easter eggs in August?
Yes, I love that.
It's only May, but I'm sure that we're going to continue into August. So, And then I'm thinking about, we have a bubble party. We have like the bubble wands, and Tommy and
Hmm.
I will get on each side of her and we will just blow bubbles, like
Oh,
just
how
bubble, bubble,
fun.
bubbles, and we'll put music on. And so it's just that, like, in the moment, having fun, being in that spirit of carefree. There is no, like, no sense of time. Let's just have fun. Let's let go of all that worry.
Hmm.
So tell me, how does using this create more overall happiness in our life?
Well, it, for me, it's really allowed me to see what brings me into alignment. Um, and it allows me to just shift my perspective and out of my seriousness, or if I'm feeling melancholy, it allows me to shift out of that. If I just take that moment to tap in and ask my inner child, okay, what should I do right now? So oftentimes that looks like, all right, put on that music and dance, or let's make some jewelry, or let's go on an adventure. And then I'll end up driving a couple of hours to the seashore and just building shell mandalas in the sand and taking off my shoes and running in the sea. And that allows me to just clear my mind from whatever those worries may be, whatever that seriousness is, and allows me to really see the vitality of life and what really matters. Because oftentimes those things that are holding me back are, all right, so you have these assignments due, or you're having this particular relationship issue that you're concerned about and you're really weighed down by that. And so just allowing that freedom to just let go of those things and play, it allows me to come back to that with this new source of energy and vitality. And oftentimes it shifts my perspective of, okay, well, now I can address these assignments and I can do it with play. It doesn't need to be so difficult. Like, how can I make this fun? So if I'm writing a paper, all right, how can I make this fun? What joy do I want to infuse into this? Or with a relationship, all right, how can I make this fun? What would my inner child do to address this relationship? How would she come at this? Would she be angry, or would she try and look at it a little bit differently? So what does that look like? And if you take that step back and just release that negative energy and whatever that seriousness is, and re-engage with the life force that's really alive within you. So that's how it works for me. That's how I've seen it to work with some of the clients that I work with my siblings. I talk to them a lot about this inner child work too. And I've seen when people do have that fun and they're able to shift back into that childlike perspective, a lot of things can open up.
I actually have experienced this myself when I'm like in that phase of pushing and seriousness and I've got to get this done, and you totally learn what you need to like teach. So as I'm going through this journey and I'm creating this 30-day happiness experience, a lot of things are coming up for me to learn and apply the tools that I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in this place of like pushing, got to get it done. And I was like, I've got to step back and let it go. And when I just let it go, like for a couple days, it was like, and I just kind of put it out of my mind. Literally, like, people were showing up like, hey, I've got help for you. Hey, I've got the answer. And I'm like, oh my, like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, something that I had been like trying to figure out for like 3 days in a row. And I just like, it felt so tight and tense and worrisome. And I let it go. And I got into this vibration of just play and prosperity. And when this morning I woke up, it was like people were literally just showing up, helping me, and the problem was solved.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for sure that getting into that different state of allowing and playfulness really helps us. And when you were talking about getting in the car and driving, I so relate to this because I love getting in the car and just driving and seeing where it leads you.
Yes.
And you end up somewhere that you never even knew existed. And it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like just such a cool like journey. So if you're in a place where you have a car and you drive, because I know a lot of people in the cities don't, but if you, or maybe if you're in the city and you've never gotten off at a certain stop and you feel inspired to try something new, maybe that's a new sense of adventure that you can, maybe there's like a restaurant that kind of pops up and you're like, oh, let's go in there, or a shop. Just that like open curiosity of seeing something new in your experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, that's something that I've done a lot of too. And one of my friend Ryan May, she was telling me last year on my birthday that um, I could never be with somebody that just followed signs and go on an adventure in that way and have such a good time doing that. So yes, I mean, if you're in the city, or even if you're not and you want to just take your 2 feet and literally follow the signs, whether those are literal signs or yeah, you see that restaurant and you want to peek in, see what happens. Oh, make that room for those miracles and those doors will open up. Like what you were saying, Stacy, all of these people coming to you, you never know what will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so amazing. I have followed that before and just wound up in really cool places. I mean, like from bumping into someone that actually through this experience, I entered into a 5-day challenge and I didn't actually have the time for the challenge, but I met 2 people who were really cool. And one of them is actually Katara, who is a part of this challenge. So just following that, like, oh, this seems something like that's really cool. Just following that feeling
Mm-hmm.
met me up with someone who I needed to interact with in my life. And she is now part of this journey and a part of my life. So just following those inner promptings definitely leads you to some really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
So, and I knew like immediately when I started talking to her, I just felt that like that pulling, that feeling like I need to know her. And like I had I'm very intuitive and very clear with my intuition. And my intuition was like, ask her if she wants to join this, ask her if she wants to join this. And it just felt like it was just like a really cool, like coming together.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us what else can we do to cultivate this inner play and just really get into the state of joy and happiness?
Yes. So like I was mentioning at the beginning and what happiness means to me and recognizing when I have my soul smiles, start recognizing when you are smiling for no apparent reason. There's a lot of wisdom within that. When you are walking around and all of a sudden you realize you have this huge grin on your face, take that moment and write down why that is. Are you just super excited because it's a sunny day outside? Are you excited because you just talked to this incredible person about something you were super passionate about? Was it because you just received this email that was just so full of love? What are those different things? And then as you develop that list, you'll start to recognize the pattern in what brings you those soul smiles. So again, it's similar to that inner child work, but if it's having these delicious conversations, if it's that sunshine and seeing the trees and the way that they're blooming, then maybe that'll tell you something. Like if you notice this theme of nature, maybe you need to get out into nature more, and maybe that's where your play and your fun comes in. If it's having those conversations, if it's having those emails, maybe it's that piece of connection. So how can you really utilize that and maybe create different outdoor parties this summer, or have tea parties, picnics, have lunch with a friend? That can be a way for you to bring that fun in. If it's just sitting down and chopping vegetables and making a nourishing meal for yourself, or going into a garden and picking food, or going into that restaurant and having delicious scone, then maybe doing something around food. Maybe that's where your joy is. So start to recognize those patterns and where your soul smiles are coming up.
Mhm. It's interesting because I've never like taken the time to recognize like what actually lights me up. I mean, what do I need to do to create more of those things that I enjoy? So I love that perspective.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, it's a fun one to start noticing those patterns and pulling those pieces in. It's moving from having those moments of gratitude into, okay, well, how can I move this into moving me into more alignment? So it's a fun practice to get into, and you'll start noticing things about yourself that maybe you weren't as tapped into.
Okay, so writing a list and taking or writing the list and being really clear about every time I see a sunset, I am happy, or every time I am in nature, I'm happy, or every time I have a soulful conversation, I'm happy, or every time I'm moving my body, I'm happy. Recognizing those patterns and then
Mm-hmm.
creating more of those patterns in our life, or
Yes.
more taking more action to create those patterns in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, taking a look, one, to see what those are, where the commonalities are. Do they fit into these different groups? And then taking it to that next step of, okay, well, I now know that there's a lot of nature theme in here. There's a lot of elements of me wanting to be creative. There's these elements of me wanting to learn. So look at what those commonalities are, what those patterns are. And then thirdly, looking at, okay, what can I do to engage with these patterns more? Where can I pull in these pieces and really intentionally create these things in my life? So I'm bringing in more of that happiness and those things that bring me that joy.
Awesome. Camila, this has been amazing. And I knew it would. And I know that you have a free gift for everyone that wants to take part in your experience. So can you tell them a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. And again, thank you so much for having me. As always, it's such a pleasure to engage with you. So my gift is an inner child creativity session, and it's to really tap into that inner child work and do some visioning and some exercises to work with your inner child and get clear on something that's coming up for you. And that can really take any form. It can be on to kind of get clear on a creative project you're working on. It can be to remove that block of seriousness. It can be used to address if you're having a relationship issue with a family member or a friend or a coworker. It can be used to run the gamut. This inner child work is applicable to every area of life. So it's just tapping into that inner child creativity and innovation and seeing where it leads. So it's a free 90-minute session.
Beautiful. So for you guys that are interested in working with Camila, you'll find the link below. And I encourage you, if you feel like a pull, if there's something sounds like really cool about that, please take her up on her offer. Camila, thank you for being here. I love this, and this is definitely something that I want to look forward to applying in my life.
Thank you, Stacy. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.